she got super feisty with me. She was like, and mind you, I'm here and she's here next to me, and we're going back and forth. Think about it, music going, we had drinks and probably hookah and all that, and she's just like, no, we need to be going to the next spot. And I'm like, no, we're not going to the next spot. Like, I have to prepare for work. I have work tomorrow, like Sundays are my day to prepare everything. What did she do? She spoke across the table to my boyfriend and asked, I've went through a few friendships or associateships, not situationships, but hey girl, hey guy, it's Ty, and welcome back to an episode of Ty's Adulting Handbook. On this channel, we discuss all things practical life skills, personal development, and things you wish somebody would have taught you in order to prepare for this thing called life. In this episode, we're going to be going through a few story times of me experiencing trying to make friends here in Houston, Texas as an adult. Let's go ahead and get into it. So firstly, I'm going to start by saying this. Why is it actually so hard for us to make friends, right? I feel as though that the main reason as to why it's so hard for us to make friends as an adult is that a couple of things, right? So us as women, we only feel like it's necessary to foster and nurture our romantic relationships. We'll do all this for a guy and this and that, but then when it comes to trying to make a friend and keep that friend, if you feel like they are a valuable person to you, we don't put in enough energy. But a lot of times it's like people are left hanging. I've went through a few friendships or associateships, not situationships, but I went through a few moments where, I felt as though they just didn't give me the same energy. They never circled back to reschedule hangouts. They would, say like, hey, you want to go out so-and-so, but never have an idea of where we're going, any kind of itinerary or anything, right? So I'm going to go ahead and share some things that I went through as of recent in order to try to make friends as an adult. So we'll call this next person Bridget. Now this story may sound a little bit familiar because I spoke about this person in one of my other videos, but this person, we used to work together. She wasn't on my initial team, but more like a liaison. And I pretty much initiated like a friendship. I didn't really have any friends here, but I observed her. I was like, cute girl. I can tell she like works out, like pretty hair, cute outfits, spoke well, all the things, right? So I initiated like us hanging out and stuff, and we started to hang out. Like she invited me to this conference, this concert here that they had in Houston, and I think Lotto performed, and it was pretty cool, and we ate food and had drinks complimentary. It was super nice, right? My birthday came, she got me stuff. Her birthday came, I got her stuff, but there's something that went on for her birthday where it's like, this is where I was at fault. She invited me to go out for her birthday, and I was like, yeah, of course, I'll be there and all that. Now, mind you, I never checked the address until the day of like we were supposed to go out. At that time, where I worked was in the city. My commute, I lived in the suburbs, so my commute was over an hour. And when I checked the address, the restaurant was about 7 minutes away from my job, knowing I would have been getting off work at like 5:30, driving in traffic, getting home at 7 to get in the shower, get dressed, and go back to the city. And I was like, I can't do it. I was already struggling with my commute. So when I text her and I said, girl, I'm so sorry. I just now checked where the address was, and it's just right here by my job, and I can't take this commute home and come all the way back out. Like, I'm so sorry. And she was upset, and then I just left it there. So the next day I was driving and I passed her exit and I called her to communicate, right? So this is what you do when you mess up. You call the person and communicate, right? You don't text, because things can be taken out of context. At that moment in time, I wasn't going to talk to her in that moment. I had texted her, but I made sure I called her the next day, because you want to communicate. If you feel like this person is of value and you are being considerate and you don't want them just wandering and thinking things, you call them, right? So I called her and I said, hey girl. And she was like, hey. And I was like, I just need to make sure I called you to communicate, what happened and all that. She was like, yeah, because you told me you were coming and then you changed your mind. I was like, yeah, I never checked the address until that day. And the restaurant was 7 minutes from my job. And it was like, I struggle with this commute already on a regular. There's no way I could have doubled back and made this commute twice in one day, you know? And she was just like, yeah, but you told me you were coming. And part of it was like, she was mad that I didn't make it and all that. And I get it, but I'm explaining that I dropped the ball and I was apologizing and stuff like that, that I didn't make it. But she said that, I mean, they had fun and they did the club hopping thing all over and stuff like that, which I might have dodged a bullet because I would have wanted to just show up at the restaurant and then head to the house to go to bed, to be honest. But that's just one thing that you want to do, right? You want to properly communicate with people. Don't just throw them a little text and then just move along, because you have to think of how they're thinking. You have to be considerate in that way. Right. And I know even after I communicated with her and stuff like that, I'm sure that she was still upset, but she felt a little better because I can tell that maybe her circle of friends, they were not like that. It was more like maybe just throw a casual text and then we'll talk when we do. And then we just pick up from there. I think that's just the worst kind of friendships that you want to have, where you just throw somebody a text and you just move on. Okay, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. But that was something where I'm very aware of where I had a shortcoming and I properly communicated to her. So there was something that went on and I said, this was pretty much it. I can't. So we went to two places. We went to two places. So I set up a double date situation. It was myself, my boyfriend, his coworker, and her and Bridget, right? So we went bowling. She complained while we were doing bowling. She was like, what? Bowling? I just don't like bowling. I haven't bowled in so long. And it wasn't coming off like she just hasn't bowled in a long time. It was just like, this is like kind of lame. Like, why are we here and stuff like that? And I was just like, girl, how rude can you be? Like, you don't do that. First off, you keep all that to yourself, right? So in my mind, I'm observing her and I'm saying, man, I'm going to have a conversation with her because she's just being so openly rude and just like inconsiderate and stuff like that, right? So we finished with bowling, we left, and we decided to go to like a lounge or something like that. Now this was Sunday, so like a Sunday fun day thing, but typically I am not out on Sundays. We just made an exception for this one Sunday. Why? Because I, at that time, was a legit Monday through Friday commuting over an hour, and Sundays were the day to reset. You washing the clothes, you cleaning the house, you folding clothes, you locked in at the house, right? So we left the bowling alley and then we ended up leaving and going to like some kind of day party situation. So we get there, get a table, and it's all a good time and everything like that. And they were about to close at about 3, like 2 or 3, something like that. And then I was like, I heard the DJ and I leaned over to her and I was like, oh, they're getting ready to close soon. So we're going to get ready to go. She was like, what? Get ready to go? No, we going to the next spot. And I was just like, no, like Sundays like are normally my day. Now, mind you, she worked from home. She spent majority of her time at home with her dog, and sometimes she would go to the office on occasion. But me, I was a die-hard commuter. When I say I would be exhausted during the week because I drove so much, right? So she got super feisty with me. She was like, and mind you, I'm here and she's here next to me, and we're going back and forth. Think about it, music going, we had drinks and probably hookah and all that. And she's just like, no, we need to be going to the next spot. And I'm like, no, we're not going to the next spot. Like, I have to prepare for work. I have work tomorrow, like Sundays are my day to prepare everything. She did not care. We were going back and forth, and then I ended it. What did she do? She spoke across the table to my boyfriend and asked, where are we going next? Where y'all want to go next? And I was just like, Lord Jesus, I'm glad that I'm the mature person that I am, because I could have easily I wouldn't have grabbed her. That's just not me. But it's just like you're asking for it because I already told you no. And then you're talking across the table to my boyfriend asking where are we going next. Now, mind you, my boyfriend, we haven't been out in a while. So my boyfriend's just like, oh, we can go to the next spot, whatever. I should have had an initial conversation with him prior to us going to say, hey, Sundays I normally have to get it together. So after this, we are going home. Like pretty much making sure we are a united front. And it's Sunday. I have a lot to do. Like we need to go. We need to get back to the house. And to his defense, he was like, he hasn't been out in a while. Like he wanted to be out and stuff like that. But I was just like, that's not okay. Like that was a whole nother situation with him. That was a whole nother conversation I had with him in the car. But the fact that she was going back and forth with me, not being an adult, not being mature, not understanding like that I'm telling you, yeah, Sundays are my day. Like we came to kick it to make sure you and the guy met and stuff like that. We double dated and all that. But yeah, we're about to go. So after that, we ended up leaving. She pouted. Pouted. How old are we? She pouted, and then we all left. I got in the car and I went crazy. My boyfriend, he caught a mouthful, and I was like, yeah, I don't know about us being friends anymore because that is so disrespectful, and it's just something you just don't do. And now, mind you, I am not a person that will look at someone's age and judge them off of that. She might have been about 28. I might have been about 33, 34, something like that at that time. But it's just like her immaturity showed so much that she was just so not mature as a person and didn't see anything wrong with her actions. Already complaining earlier about the bowling alley and then complaining now that we don't want to bar hop with you in Sunday Fun Day. Girl, I have work tomorrow. You are probably off or you working from home. And I was just like, I think after that, she wanted to go. I needed some days to cool off, so I just left it alone. But I think she had texted me about going somewhere. And I was like, no, I don't like that. I think it was a movie, maybe the Barbie movie, or it was some kind of, no. It was the, maybe the Mean Girls. It was the Mean Girls movie that came out, but it was like, what do you call it when they're singing and stuff? It's the second Mean Girls. And she was like, yeah, you want to go sit? And I was like, nah, I heard it was a musical. And I was like, I don't want to see it. And she was like, oh, okay. And then that was pretty much the last time we spoke. That was the last time we spoke. And I wish that I would have been more calm to have a conversation with her because I felt like she was a cool girl, but she did that twice. And she was just very into herself. And it's just like a lot. You get older, you don't want to coach certain people, right, on certain things. If you feel like they're valuable, at least have the conversation with them. If they just shrug their shoulders, then you move on. But, whew, that was a lot. She took a lot out of me, and we moving on. Hey y'all, so upon editing this video, the entire video is close to 30 minutes long, so I guess this video is just going to be a part 1, and I'm just going to have to break down the rest of the video into multiple episodes. But if you like this video, definitely comment down below, let me know what you thought about it. And honestly, have you had the same experience or something crazier than my experience? I would definitely love to hear it. So like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in part 2. Bye.